everybody, Stephanie here with the Machine Gun Nest, and I'm really excited today to have Dr. Mariela Roca sit down and talk with us. If you haven't heard of Dr. Roca, she is running for Congress in the 8th Congressional District here in the state of Maryland. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you so much, Steph. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, we're really excited. And so tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your background and who you are and how those things made you who you are today.
Yeah, of course. So I was born in Puerto Rico and single mom. She worked really hard to take care of me and my brother, and we lived in Puerto Rico for a couple years. When I was 3, we actually moved to New York, lived in Queens, lived there for about 10 years, and then when I was 13, we decided to move back to Puerto Rico. So it was just me, my mom, and my brother, and we didn't have much. We were pretty poor, but you know, she worked really hard to make sure that we had clean clothes, nice clothes, and always basically had what we needed. So we were in Puerto Rico I finished high school in Puerto Rico, and my brother actually had already joined the military before I decided to join the military. He was actually in boot camp. He joined the Marines, and he was in boot camp on 9/11. Wow. So he was there through that whole thing. And after I graduated high school in Puerto Rico, I had no interest really, I think, joining the military. I actually wanted to be a dentist. I wanted to be a dentist, and I did a year and a half of pre-med. And one day I just woke up and decided that no, it's time for me to join the military. So I joined in 2005 and went to basic training. First time in Texas. Went to my tech school, which is basically your job that you're going to do in the military. And I was a medical material craftsman, which is basically a medical logistician. And I basically dealt with medical supplies, procurement, distribution, and making sure everybody at the hospital had everything they need. So did that, joined in 2005. In 2007, I got orders and was deployed to Afghanistan. So I did that, and that was definitely a eye-opening experience. You know, I had to grow up a little bit faster. You know, being in the military, you know, definitely grew up. Being in that kind of environment was very eye-opening, and we did a lot of great work there. And a lot of the local nationals were actually very happy that we were there helping them. And so we did that, and I came back. My first duty station was here in Maryland, and came back from my deployment, and I then got moved to MacDill Air Force Base in Florida. So I did the warm weather thing for about a year and a half, and then got deployed again. The second time I deployed to Qatar. Same thing, doing medical logistics job functions. And in my second deployment, I actually had received a Red Cross message. Had to come home early because my mom was sick. Oh. So that's got a Red Cross message and got on the next flight the next day and came home. I already had my daughter at the time, so she was taking care of my daughter, and I just had to rush back home. And she was diagnosed with a stage 4 glioblastoma multiform brain tumor, which is probably the worst brain tumor a person could possibly get. So I became her caregiver, and that was very difficult. I don't know if you have ever dealt with a terminally ill family member, but it's very stressful, and actually is the reason why I had to separate from the military, because she needed full-time care and had to take care of her, take her to her appointments. So I ended up separating from the military, and unfortunately she passed away a year and a half after she got diagnosed. So she passed away in 2011, and I just remember, I think that was my first delve in and dive into how much our healthcare system needs so much reform and fixing. Yeah. The people that I mentioned earlier, we didn't have much, so it was very difficult to go through that process. So yes, and then I ended up here in Frederick, had never been to Frederick. Started working at Fort Detrick, because Fort Detrick, if you didn't know, is the hub of medical logistics for the Department of Defense.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so Army, Air Force, Navy, everybody's at Fort Detrick for medical logistics. So worked there for about 10 years as a federal employee, and I had to resign last year to run for office. So I resigned my job because you can't be a federal employee and run for office. So I had to resign, find another job, and started campaigning. And I have 2 kids, a 14-year-old daughter. She does gymnastics, competitive gymnastics. So she keeps me pretty busy with that. She's really good. It's a little nerve-wracking seeing her flipping in the air, and now she's at a higher level. She's in level 8, so she's actually doing more flips. So it's getting a little bit more nerve-wracking. And then I have a 10-year-old son, and I really do think I have great kids, and I think every mom says that, right? But they're pretty good kids, and I have a doctorate in business administration, my master's, I have an MBA, and then my bachelor's, I got it in computer information technology. Remember I said I wanted to be a dentist, and after I joined the military, that kind of changed a little bit, and I kind of wanted to go into the IT world, and then eventually ended up in business administration. So yeah, I love living in Maryland. This is awesome. It's a great place to raise kids. There's a lot of great people, and yeah, got to meet you.
Now I'm really excited to have met you, and you have such a powerful story, and it seems like you've lived so much life for not that many years, honestly, on this earth. So I mean, your background being born, raised in Puerto Rico, going to Queens, going back to Puerto Rico, your military service, being a full-time caregiver for your mother, raising your children who are doing really, really well. Powering through and getting a master's of business administration, a doctorate after that. I mean, that's a mind-blowing accomplishment on its own right there. You're a very, very impressive person.
Thank you.
So could you share a little bit with us about how all of those life experiences have shaped your political views today?
Yes, of course. So actually, I think when I was younger, my family wasn't very political. They really didn't talk about politics, and for the longest time after I joined the military, I was not registered in any party. I was unaffiliated because I felt like there's a little bit about every party and every political view that I kind of agreed with. And then when I actually started paying more attention and trying to educate myself, I was registered as a Democrat for about a year because I really truly thought that was what I was. I mean, the media kind of tells you, if you look a certain way, you're Hispanic, you're this, you're that, oh, you're definitely a Democrat. And I think that's going on a lot with a lot of people in this country. And when I actually made the decision that I wanted to run for Congress, and I actually started educating myself and looking, I truly felt that my views and my values align more on the conservative side as a Republican. So that's why I'm a Republican. I believe that that's the party that best aligns with my views, and yeah.
So as a conservative, well, let me rephrase that. Let me think. So as somebody in the firearms industry, obviously the Second Amendment is really important to me, and especially as a mission-based company, our mission is to change people's perceptions of guns and gun owners through experiencing firearms. Could you share with us a little bit about what the Second Amendment means to you?
Yeah, so the Second Amendment to me is very important. The Constitution as a whole is something that I think is sacred in this country. It's what guides us to be the best country in the world. The United States is the best country in the world because of what our founding fathers established in our Constitution. And obviously the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, is definitely very important to me. Being in the military, that's when I had my first firearms training, was in basic training. And to be very honest, I was very nervous. I had never held a gun before when I was in the military, and they did a great job at teaching us, and I got a lot more comfortable. And after that, when I left the military, I honestly was never my thing to have a lot of guns at home. That just wasn't my thing. But so yes, I was never a a hardcore gun enthusiast after I separated from the military, but I enjoy shooting and I enjoy participating. And I know that this is something that lots of Americans, doesn't matter what political party you are, enjoy. And I do think that the Second Amendment is so important. I really do think if we lose our Second Amendment rights, we don't have any other rights.
I couldn't agree more. I'm so with you, and I know a lot of you all listening too agree that every amendment is important. Every article in our Constitution is important, but without the right to bear arms to kind of keep a tyrannical government at bay, it kind of all falls apart. So I couldn't agree more there. And it is scary to see what's happening in these beautifully developed other countries. Sometimes we can associate this tyrannical downgrade, this degradation with maybe some lesser developed countries, but to see it happening in Australia is a real-time example that nobody can look at and say, oh, that's never going to happen. And look what's happening there. I mean, they have forced quarantine camps and nobody can do anything about it. Their freedoms are being stripped away. And it's a scary thing to see. And I think so many of us, on no matter what side of the aisle we find ourselves on, just as mothers, as parents, everybody wants their children to live in a free country and to have those opportunities that we have to take advantage of those things. And I firmly believe that the Second Amendment undergirds a lot of that. So it's really encouraging to hear somebody who's running for office value that in the same way that you do, and who's going to protect those rights and not allow any more infringement to occur. So thank you so much for coming here and for talking with us today. Thank you for your time telling us your story. It's been really, really cool to sit down and get to know you, and for our viewers and our audience to sit down and get to know you more. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Oh, yes. Definitely want to thank you. You have been amazing and wonderful. I absolutely love what you and the Machine Gun Nest are doing to educate people, make it a safe, fun environment. And I guess I'm running for office, and this is new. I've never done this before, and as a new candidate, it's very important to get to support as many people as possible. So for your viewers, if you want to go on my website, it's rocaforcongress.com, and you can go on there and learn more about me. Watch a couple videos that I have on there, and most importantly, support me if you can. So speaking of support, Dr. Mariela Roca is actually having a Save the Second Amendment rally and kickoff event here at the Machine Gun Nest. That's going to be held February 10th at 6 p.m. We're going to be dropping the link below. And what's really great is that you are invited to come hear her speak in person, hear her talk about what her plans are for this state representing us here, and have a chance to ask her your questions. She's going to be here. We're going to be shooting machine guns together. The Shuck and Shack has graciously decided that they're going to sponsor this event and provide food. So it's going to be a really, really great time. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. I'm so excited to meet everyone, and we've got two great guest speakers in addition to Stephanie and the amazing staff here at the Machine Gun Nest. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a really great time. So again, we're going to drop the link, hit the link, get your tickets, come on in, and we look forward to seeing you there.